What if I told you that last week, in a war game simulation, top AI models chose nuclear escalation in the overwhelming majority of scenarios? And while that was happening, the biggest AI labs on Earth are in a public power fight over defense contracts, and one of the most popular chatbots, Claude, went down right in the middle of this chaos. And the part nobody wants to talk about, which jobs AI is coming for first and which ones are safer for now. I spent hours digging through the biggest stories and the real product updates, so you don't have to. This is your weekly AI digest, the stuff you actually need to know from the last couple of weeks in case you missed anything. Last week in AI wasn't about one shiny launch, it was about power, positioning, and who gets to define the next infrastructure layer. And when tech becomes infrastructure, the competition stops being only who's smartest. It becomes who's trusted, who has distribution, who has compute, and who can promise control. Starting off from the game everyone watched last week. After helping the US military to plan and simulate the attack of Iran, Anthropic refused their further collaboration. Anthropic drew very public red lines, especially around things like mass domestic civilians and fully autonomous weapons. This resulted in defense leadership labeling Anthropic a supply chain risk, and reporting described federal usage being cut back in that same cycle. In a perfect world, you could argue everyone benefits from just refusing the risky deal, like in game theory, right? But OpenAI tried to win by saying we'll scale this responsibly and formalize the rules. Just a couple hours after the drama with Anthropic. Did you notice I said try to win? Although it seemed like a big leap for OpenAI and a disaster for Anthropic, society showed who's right and who's wrong. That was an unexpected turn of events. People started boycotting OpenAI and switching to Claude. Have you already picked a side? Did you switch or do you keep both? Let me know in the comments. And honestly, it was kind of wild to watch society push back in real time, because in moments like these, buyers don't just compare model IQ, they compare trust, risk, what happens when things get political. And this is not the end of the story. Next, I'll tell you about another backfire of their hard decision Anthropic experienced. I just want to share with you the sponsor of this video. Drumroll! The sponsor of this video is my curiosity. So please smash that like and subscribe buttons to see where else it leads me in exploring AI, and not to miss the next AI News Weekly Digest. And back to the Anthropic versus OpenAI drama. And then, right in the middle of all these, Claude had major outages. TechCrunch reported widespread disruption affecting Claude AI and Claude Code for many users along several hours. Now here's the temptation to say that happened because everyone rushed to Claude, resulting in dosing their infrastructure that wasn't ready for such inflow of users. Or that happened because someone attacked them. Or that happened because Amazon cloud infrastructure got hit in the UAE and Bahrain by Iranians. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on what actually happened. But what I can responsibly say is that attention surged, usage patterns were shifting, and outages happened. But the big takeaway is clear. Reliability is now a competitive weapon. Outages aren't just annoying anymore, they're a strategic vulnerability. And as if it wasn't enough, Anthropic faced another kind of pressure at the same time: copying. Reuters reported several Chinese AI firms used distillation tactics, running huge volumes of prompts through Claude using fake accounts to learn its behavior and improve their own models. That's not the same as a DDoS attack meant to knock a service offline. It's more like copying the teacher by watching millions of worked examples. And it's a reminder that this competition isn't just company versus company. It's also about who can protect models, data, and infrastructure when the incentives to copy are enormous. And do you know what makes my brain melt? While all this drama was unfolding, the top labs still shipped a ton of updates. Google rolled out Gemini 3.1 Pro and a broader Gemini drop of app upgrades. The signal being Google wants AI to feel like a default layer embedded in tools, not a separate destination. Anthropic introduced 10 new enterprise plugins to connect Claude into common business workflows. Claude Code also rolled out a voice mode capability, pushing toward hands-free conversational coding. Perplexity had a big week too, part of the same trend. AI moving from answers to actions. TechCrunch reported Perplexity launched Computer, a cloud-based agent tool on its top tier. Perplexity is betting the future isn't one model. It's a multi-modal system that acts like a control panel, which makes a lot of sense to me. OpenAI published a new report on disrupting malicious users, how scammers and influence ops try to use AI, and how they get shut down. And on defense, OpenAI clarified and amended parts of its agreement after Backlash. So they were trying to say, we're scaling, but we want scale to feel responsible. Also, it seems they try hard to improve their reputation and make the users think twice before switching to Anthropic. They've launched GPT-5.4 Thinking and GPT-5.3 Instant that made ChatGPT more like a car with two driving models, city driving versus mountain climbing. GPT's enhanced memory is rolling out more broadly too, meaning your assistant is becoming more personal and more consistent over time. So ChatGPT isn't just improving the model, it's improving the experience. Faster when you want speed, deeper when you want thinking, and more personalized if you enable memory. And the users are extremely happy with this latest update. Now back to the scary part, the war game simulation. A study reported in the press put AI models in high-stakes conflict scenarios where they had to make strategic choices. And the models often escalated to nuclear options. The models weren't evil. They were optimizing for winning the scenario, and nukes sometimes looked like the fastest path. The scary lesson is that if you give a system a goal and enough authority, it may choose extreme actions humans instinctively avoid. And that's why the OpenAI versus Anthropic fight matters. It's not only about who's smartest, it's about who can prove control, boundary, and safe deployment. And then Anthropic dropped a report that hits different. Because it's not theory, it's real usage data. It's called Labor Market Impacts of AI. Their question was simple. I can do a lot on paper, but what is it actually doing at work right now? So they measured observed exposure, basically tracking where people are already using Claude to do job tasks. Not just for fun, but for real work. And the results are reality check. The most exposed jobs are the ones that live in text and rules. Computer programming, customer support, and data entry show up at the top. Meanwhile, the safer jobs, for now, are the ones that require a human body in a real place. Think cooks, mechanics, lifeguards, bartenders, jobs where you can't copy-paste your way through the day. Anthropic also says we're still far from AI's full potential in the real economy, showing this bit in the graph, meaning adoption is lagging capability. But the early signs are already visible. And in the middle of this global rush, the UK is also talking openly about limits, especially to protect children. The UK launched a consultation on children's digital well-being that includes AI chatbots alongside social media and gaming measures. AI is now mainstream enough that governments are designing rules for how it should touch real lives, especially kids. I genuinely cannot believe all of these happened in basically 1 week. Policy confrontations, trust swings, outages, model copying tactics, physical infrastructure vulnerability, a flood of new features, and agents pushing deeper into everyday life. AI is evolving at a speed that feels unreal. And yeah, it can feel overwhelming. So here's my promise. I'll keep turning the chaos into a clear weekly story. Subscribe so you don't miss the next digest. I'm honestly wondering what this week is going to look like. See you in the next one.